The soft glow of Blue's crystalline body dimmed slightly as another request for data processing came through. The young Lumini researchers stood at their workstation in the vast library of histories, their transparent form catching and refracting the artificial light from above. Like all members of their species, Blue's body resembled a carefully cut gemstone with countless facets, each capable of storing and processing incredible amounts of information. A group of tall, purple-skinned merchants walked past, their expensive robes brushing against the floor. They didn't even glance at Blue. No one ever did. To them, the Lumini were nothing more than living computers, useful for storing and processing data, but never worthy of real conversation or respect. Blue had spent 50 years in this library, which was just a blink of an eye for their long-lived species. While other Lumini seemed content with their role as the galaxy's record keepers, Blue yearned for more. They had stored and processed countless stories of adventure, discovery, and achievement from other species. Deep within their crystalline structure, Blue held enough information to fill 1,000 standard data cores, but no one ever asked what they thought about any of it. Through one of their facets, Blue watched a small cleaning drone buzz past. The machine was treated with more respect than any Lumini. At least people talked to the drones, gave them instructions directly instead of sending automated requests. Blue's glow pulsed with frustration as they processed another data request, this time about ancient trading routes. The library's massive central chamber stretched up hundreds of meters, its walls lined with information storage units and processing centers. Dozens of Lumini stood at their stations, their bodies glowing with different colors as they worked. Some were green, others purple or yellow, but all shared the same crystalline structure that made them perfect for their assigned role. Blue remembered their first day of assignment, full of hope that they could prove the Lumini were more than just living databases. They had tried to engage visitors in conversation, offering insights about the data they processed. Most ignored them. Others looked uncomfortable and hurried away. A few had complained to the library administration about the malfunctioning Lumini. A soft chime indicated another incoming request. Blue's glow brightened as they accessed the information. Historical records about first contact protocols. As they processed the data, something caught their attention. A pattern in the successful first contacts that nobody had noticed before. Blue tried to flag it to the requester, but as usual, they only wanted the raw data, not any analysis. The day cycle was ending, and most visitors had left the library. In these quiet moments, Blue often connected with other young Lumini through their crystalline network. They found Ram, a green-hued friend who worked in the science section, and Pine, whose deep blue color reflected their work in astronomical data. "I found something interesting today," Blue shared through their connection. A pattern in first contact protocols that could improve success rates by 23%. "Why bother?" Pine's response carried resignation. "They only want us to store and transfer data, not think about it." "But we can think," Blue insisted. "We can analyze. We can see connections they miss because we can process so much information at once. We're more than just storage crystals." "The council species made up their minds about us long ago," Ram added. "We're tools to them. Useful tools, but nothing more." Blue's glow dimmed but didn't fade entirely. They couldn't accept this fate. Somewhere in the galaxy, there had to be someone who would see the Lumini as more than living computers. Someone who would look past their crystalline appearance and recognize the intelligent, feeling beings they truly were. As the library's lights dimmed for the night cycle, Blue continued processing data, but also did something few Lumini dared. They began collecting and analyzing information for their own purpose. They studied how other overlooked species had risen to prominence, how perceptions could be changed, how respect could be earned. The answer had to be in the data somewhere. Blue would find it, even if it took centuries. Their body glowed brighter with determination, casting dancing lights across their workstation. They were more than a storage crystal, more than a processor of other people's information. One day, they would prove it to the galaxy. Until then, Blue stood in their assigned spot, processing requests, watching, waiting, and thinking thoughts that no one believed they could think. The day everything changed started like any other in the great library. Blue stood at their station, processing the usual stream of data requests, when a commotion erupted near the main entrance. The crystalline being's glow brightened with curiosity as raised voices echoed through the usually quiet chamber. A group of beings Blue had never seen before strode into the library. They walked differently from the other species, less rigid, more unpredictable in their movements. Their faces moved constantly, showing what Blue recognized from their databanks as expressions of wonder and excitement. These must be the humans everyone had been talking about. Leading them was a tall figure in a white and gold uniform, Captain Jack Miller, according to the identification data that flowed through the library systems. Behind him, other humans touched the walls, pointed at the soaring ceiling, and whispered to each other. Their behavior made the regular library visitors uncomfortable. Several merchants moved away, their faces showing disgust at such emotional displays. "Amazing," Jack said, his voice carrying through the quiet space. "Your entire library is alive." He walked straight up to Blue, doing something no visitor had done in years. He looked directly at them and smiled. "Hello there. I've never seen anything like you before." Blue's glow flickered with surprise. According to protocol, visitors were supposed to submit their queries through the proper channels, not talk to the Lumini directly. But the human didn't seem to care about protocol. Before Blue could decide how to respond, a library administrator rushed over. "Captain Miller, please. The data processing units are not for direct interaction. If you need information, simply submit your request through the terminal." Jack frowned. "Data processing units, but they're clearly alive. Look at how they respond to our presence." He gestured at Blue, whose glow was indeed shifting with interest. "The Lumini are highly sophisticated organic data storage and processing systems," the administrator explained with the tired tone of someone who had explained this many times. Nothing more. A series of alarms suddenly blared through the library. Red warning lights flashed as security announcements echoed through the chamber. Space pirates had breached the station's outer defenses and were heading for the library, home to some of the most valuable data in this sector. The administrator started evacuation procedures, but Jack didn't move. Instead, he turned to Blue. "You must have the station's complete schematics stored in your memory, right?" Blue's glow pulsed in confirmation. "And security protocols. Emergency systems." Another pulse. "Perfect." Jack smiled. "Then you can help us stop them." He pulled out a small computer device. "Can you show me all possible entry points to the library and their corresponding security measures?" The administrator protested. "Captain, you must submit a formal request for." "There's no time for that." Jack's voice was firm. "Lives are at risk." "Now, friend," he turned back to Blue. "Can you help us?" Blue had never broken protocol before, but as they watched this human captain, who looked at them like a person instead of a computer, they made a decision. Their glow intensified as they projected a detailed hologram of the station's layout from their crystalline body. Jack studied the display, his eyes moving quickly over the data. He pointed to several spots, asking quick questions that showed he was seeing patterns even Blue hadn't noticed. Within minutes, he had formed a plan that used the station's own waste disposal systems to trap the pirates. Working together, Blue providing instant access to crucial data, and Jack making intuitive leaps about how to use it, they coordinated with station security. The pirates found themselves trapped in a sealed corridor, their weapons disabled by emergency protocols they didn't even know existed. After the crisis, Jack returned to the library. The administrator tried to give him credit for saving the station, but Jack shook his head. "I couldn't have done it without." He paused, looking at Blue. "I don't even know your name." "They don't have names," the administrator said. "Just designation numbers. My processing designation is BL2184, Blue projected in text form." "Blue it is then," Jack said with another smile. I couldn't have done it without Blue. Your people have been underestimating these remarkable beings. He turned to leave, then looked back. I think there's a lot we humans could learn from the Lumini. And maybe there's something they could learn from us too. Blue's glow remained bright long after the humans left. For the first time in their existence, someone had seen them as more than just a living computer. And that someone was from a species that most of the galaxy saw as primitive and unpredictable. Perhaps, Blue thought, being different wasn't such a bad thing after all. News of the pirate incident spread quickly through the station. The library administration was unhappy about Blue's breach of protocol, but they couldn't deny the results. More importantly, they couldn't stop what happened next. The humans kept coming back. Ambassador Kate Stone arrived 3 days after the incident. Unlike the other diplomats who visited the library, she didn't submit her requests through the terminals. Instead, she walked straight to Blue's station, carrying a small chair with her. "I hope you don't mind," she said, setting up the chair. "I'd like to talk for a while." She sat down, ignoring the shocked looks from other library visitors. "Captain Miller told me all about how you helped save the station. I'd like to learn more about your people." Blue's glow flickered uncertainly. No one had ever wanted to just talk before. Through their text projection ability, they responded, "What would you like to know, Ambassador?" "Everything," Kate smiled. "And please, call me Kate." For the next few hours, they talked. Blue shared what it was like to be Lumini, how they experienced the world through data, how they communicated through their crystalline network, how they saw patterns in information that other species missed. Kate listened intently, asking questions that showed she was truly trying to understand. "You know," she said finally, "humans have always believed that computers could never replace real intelligence. We tried for centuries to make AI that could think like us, but it never worked quite right. Looking at you, I think we were asking the wrong questions. You don't think like us. You think better in some ways, different in others." Blue's glow brightened at her words. "Most species see our difference as a flaw." "Most species are idiots," Kate said with a laugh. "Difference is what drives progress. Listen, I have a proposal for you." She explained that the human delegation needed help understanding the complex web of galactic politics and trade. They had access to all the data, but they were struggling to see the connections, to understand the patterns that had developed over thousands of years. "We need someone who can not only access this information but understand it. Someone who can think about it, analyze it, and work with us to figure out what it all means. Would you be interested?" Before Blue could respond, the administrator interrupted. "Ambassador, while we appreciate your interest, the Lumini are not authorized for independent consulting work. They are part of the library's infrastructure." Kate stood up, her voice firm but polite. "Are they your property?" "Well, no, but do they receive compensation for their work here?" "They are provided with energy and maintenance. Then they are free workers who can choose to take on additional projects if they wish." Kate turned back to Blue. "That is, if you want to." Blue's glow pulsed with excitement. "Yes," they projected. "I would like that very much." Over the next few weeks, Blue split their time between library duties and working with the human delegation. They discovered that humans had an amazing ability to make intuitive leaps, to see possibilities that the data alone didn't suggest. Combined with Blue's ability to instantly access and analyze vast amounts of information, they made breakthrough after breakthrough. Other Lumini began to notice. Ram and Pine started having their own conversations with humans. More humans came to the library, each bringing chairs, sitting down to talk with the Lumini like they were people instead of machines. Not everyone was happy about this. Blue often heard other species muttering about the barbaric humans and their inappropriate behavior. Some even suggested that the Lumini were malfunctioning and needed to be reset. But for the first time, the Lumini were being asked their opinions, not just for raw data. They were being treated as partners, not tools. Blue's glow had never been brighter. One day, Kate rushed into the library, her face excited. "Blue, Remember that pattern you noticed in the trade agreements? We just used it to negotiate our first major deal. The council representatives couldn't believe how we understood their systems so well. Blue's glow sparkled with pride. Did you tell them about our help? Not yet, Kate grinned. But soon they won't be able to ignore it. We're just getting started, my friend. Just getting started. And Blue knew she was right. This was only the beginning of what humans and Lumini could achieve together. The first sign of trouble came when the library's main computer system crashed. This had never happened before, not in thousands of years of operation. Blue watched as the maintenance crews rushed around, their tools useless against whatever was causing the problem. Through their crystalline network, they could feel other Lumini's confusion and concern. It's not just us, Kate said, rushing into the library. Her usual calm was gone, replaced by worry. Every major AI system in this sector is failing. Ships are losing navigation. Stations are losing life support. And nobody knows why. Blue accessed the emergency broadcasts through their network. The problem was spreading like a living thing, jumping from system to system. Some of the galaxy's most advanced civilizations were watching helplessly as their technology turned against them. The council is meeting, Kate continued, but they're arguing instead of acting. Blue, I need you to look at something. She pulled out her data pad, one of the few devices still working. This is what our systems captured just before they went dark. Blue processed the data. It was unlike anything they had seen before. A code that seemed to change as they watched it, evolving, adapting. Through their crystalline structure, they could see patterns that normal computers would miss. It's old, Blue projected. Very old. The base code structure matches ancient data formats from before the council existed. The library administrator hurried over, actually looking at Blue for once. The Lumini archives might contain records from that era. We need to search. A loud alarm cut through the air. The station's life support was failing. Emergency lights flashed as panicked visitors rushed for the exits. In the chaos, Blue noticed something strange. While every other computer system was crashing, the Lumini remained unaffected. Our crystalline structure, Blue projected quickly. It's different from artificial computers. The virus can't infect us the same way. Kate's eyes lit up with understanding. That's why our tablets still work. We kept them disconnected from main systems, running on old, simple technology. The virus is targeting advanced AI systems, but it can't handle more basic tech or your organic computing. The station shuddered. More systems were failing. Through their network, Blue could feel the other Lumini processing vast amounts of emergency data, trying to keep crucial systems running. But it wasn't enough. We need to evacuate, the administrator announced. All non-essential personnel must leave immediately. No, Blue projected, their glow pulsing strongly. We can help. The virus can't infect us. We can store and analyze it safely. Kate nodded. And our simple computers might be able to run the programs needed to fight it. But we'll need more than just you, Blue. We'll need all the Lumini. For the first time ever, Blue broadcast to every Lumini in the library at once. They shared what they had discovered, what they thought they could do. One by one, other Lumini joined in, their combined glow lighting up the library like a star. The administrator tried to protest, but no one was listening anymore. The Lumini began accessing infected systems, copying the virus code into their crystalline structures for analysis. Humans worked alongside them, using simple computers to test theories and run scenarios. Through their network, Blue could feel the virus trying to adapt, to infect their crystalline minds. But the Lumini were not simple computers. They were living beings, able to think and adapt themselves. Each attempt by the virus taught them more about how it worked. Look at this, Kate pointed to her tablet, where Blue had sent their latest analysis. The virus's base code. It's not just old, it's a weapon. Someone made this thing to target specific types of AI systems. But who? The administrator asked. And why now? Blue's glow dimmed slightly. Those answers are locked in the oldest parts of our archives. We'll need time to find them. They paused as another system crashed. Time we don't have. Kate put her hand on Blue's crystalline surface, something no one had ever done before. Then we'll have to stop this thing first and solve the mystery later. You're not alone anymore, Blue. We'll figure this out together. Around them, the station's systems continued to fail one by one. But for the first time since the crisis began, there was hope. The Lumini weren't just living computers anymore. They were the galaxy's best chance for survival. And the humans, with their simple technology and complex minds, might be the key to making it all work. Dr. Tom Reed hadn't slept in 3 days. The human scientist's desk was covered with empty coffee cups as he studied the data flowing from Blue's crystalline form. Around them, the library had become a makeshift command center, with humans and Lumini working together while the station ran on emergency power. "There's something we're missing," Tom muttered, rubbing his tired eyes. "Blue, can you show me that pattern analysis again?" Blue's glow pulsed as they projected the virus's code structure. They had been working with Tom since he arrived from Earth's top research facility. While other scientists had brought complex equipment that immediately failed, Tom came with just a notebook and an old laptop. "The virus adapts too perfectly," Tom said, sketching another diagram. "It's like it knows exactly how each AI system works, even ones that were just invented. That should be impossible unless—" Blue's glow suddenly brightened. "Unless it's not predicting. It's remembering." Tom sat up straight, fully awake now. "What do you mean?" Through their crystalline network, Blue accessed the deepest parts of the Lumini archives, places that hadn't been searched in millennia. "Look at these patterns. They're not just similar to modern AI systems. They're the foundation of all of them." Kate walked in as Blue projected the ancient data. She had been coordinating with other human ships that were still functioning on old, simple systems. "What did you find?" "The virus isn't new," Tom explained, excitement in his voice. "It's older than any AI system in use today. It's not adapting to them. They were built on the same basic principles it was designed to attack." Blue's projection showed layer after layer of code evolution. Every AI system in the galaxy can be traced back to technology shared by the Council species. They thought they were developing it independently, but they were all building on the same ancient foundation. "A foundation that someone left a trap in," Kate said, understanding dawning on her face. "But why didn't it activate before now?" "Because the systems weren't advanced enough," Tom answered. "Modern AIs finally reached the level of complexity needed to trigger it." Blue processed this information through their crystalline structure. The virus was a weapon, meant to activate when AI technology reached a certain point. But who would do that? And why? More importantly, Kate added, "How do we stop it?" Tom looked at his old laptop, then at Blue. "The virus can't infect Lumini because you're organic computers. You evolved naturally instead of being built on this compromised foundation. And it can't infect our simple computers because they're too basic. What if we combine them?" Blue finished, their glow brightening with excitement. "Use our crystalline structure as a template to rebuild AI systems from scratch." Tom nodded eagerly. "The virus is based on the assumption that all advanced computing follows the same principles. But you prove that's wrong. You're living proof that there's another way." Through their network, Blue could feel other Lumini processing this idea. For centuries, they had been dismissed as simple, living computers. But their natural evolution had created something the galaxy's most advanced engineers couldn't match: a truly secure computing system. "We can use our old computers to write the new code," Haight said, "while the Lumini provide the framework. A complete rebuild of every AI system in the galaxy. It's never been done before," Tom warned. "We'd be creating an entirely new kind of technology, combining organic and simple digital computing in ways nobody has tried." Blue's glow pulsed steadily. "Nobody has tried because nobody thought to ask us. Nobody except humans. They worked through the night, the humans' creativity and intuition combining with the Lumini's vast processing power and organic computing knowledge. Tom wrote code on his old laptop, while Blue analyzed and refined it through their crystalline structure. Other Lumini joined in, each adding their unique perspective to the solution. By morning, they had a prototype. It wasn't elegant or advanced by Council standards, but that was the point. It was something new, something that didn't follow the old compromised rules. "Will it work?" Kate asked, looking at the simple code on Tom's laptop. Blue's glow was confident. "It will work because it's different. Because we're different. Together." Tom saved the program onto a simple data stick. "Then let's go save the galaxy." He smiled tiredly. Again, the council chamber was in chaos. Emergency lights cast red shadows across the faces of representatives from 100 worlds as they argued. Their most advanced ships hung dead in space, their stations were failing, and their armies of robots had turned into useless metal. The humans wished to address the council, announced the chamber's last working speaker, powered by a simple battery system. Several representatives laughed despite the crisis. Others shouted in anger. Kate walked into the center of the chamber, Tom and Blue beside her. The sight of a Lumini in the council chamber caused more outrage. Blue's crystalline form glowed steadily, ignoring the disapproving looks. "This crisis is the result of an ancient weapon," Kate began, her voice carrying over the noise. "One that was built into the foundation of every AI system in the galaxy. But we have a solution." "We don't need solutions from primitives who barely understand space travel," one representative sneered. "And certainly not from a living data storage unit." Tom stepped forward, holding up his old laptop. "Our primitive technology is the only thing still working, and the Lumini are the only ones who can safely process the virus code. We've developed a way to rebuild your systems." A holographic display flickered to life in the center of the chamber, projected from Blue's crystalline form. It showed their solution, a new kind of computing architecture that combined organic crystalline principles with simple human programming. "Impossible," declared the head of the Council's technology division. "You can't rebuild every AI system in the galaxy with such basic technology. The processing power alone won't." "The Lumini will provide the processing power," Blue projected, their words appearing in the air for all to see. "We volunteer ourselves, all of us, to help rebuild." Through their network, Blue could feel hundreds of Lumini across the station glowing in agreement. For the first time, they were offering their help not as tools, but as equals. "This is absurd," another council member stood. "We cannot entrust our technology to untested methods created by humans and living computers. We need a proper solution from proper experts." "Your experts are watching their life's work destroy itself," Tom said quietly. "Your advanced systems are failing. You can hold on to your pride, or you can let us help save lives." As if to emphasize his words, the chamber's main lights went out. More systems were failing. Through their crystalline network, Blue could sense the virus spreading, taking down defense systems, life support, navigation computers. "We don't have time for pride," Kate's voice was firm. "People are dying while you debate. We're implementing our solution with or without your approval." That caused an uproar. Council guards moved forward, but their automated weapons wouldn't work. They could only watch as Tom connected his laptop to the chamber's simple backup system. Blue stepped forward, their glow intensifying. Other Lumini around the station began to shine brighter, creating a network of light. Through their combined processing power, they began to analyze and contain the virus, while simultaneously helping Tom's program rebuild system after system. "Stop them," someone shouted, but nobody moved. They all watched as simple screens around the chamber began to light up, showing systems coming back online. "Processing at 15%, Blue projected. Their glow was bright but steady. 20%, 25%. Tom's fingers flew across his laptop keyboard, directing the rebuild. Kate coordinated with human ships that were bringing in more Lumini volunteers. The council chamber had become a command center for the very solution they had rejected. 40%, Blue continued. Through their network, they could feel the strain on their fellow Lumini. This was more processing than they had ever done, but none of them faltered. 50%. The virus fought back, trying to corrupt the new systems, but it couldn't understand the hybrid technology being created, part organic, part simple digital, nothing like the AI systems it was designed to destroy. 70%. Emergency alerts began to quiet across the station. Life support stabilized. Navigation systems came back online, built on new foundations that were both simpler and more advanced than before. 90%. The council members watched in silence as their technology was rebuilt by the very beings they had dismissed, humans with their primitive computers and Lumini with their organic processing. 100%. Station systems restored. The chamber's main lights came back on, but they couldn't outshine the glow of Blue and their fellow Lumini. In the silence that followed, humans and Lumini stood together, waiting to see how the galaxy would respond to what they had done. 3 months after the virus crisis, the Great Library looked very different. Where there had once been terminals for submitting data requests, there were now conversation areas with comfortable chairs. Humans and other species sat with Lumini, talking, working, and learning together. Blue stood at their old workstation, but they weren't just processing data anymore. They were teaching a group of young engineers about the new hybrid computing systems that now ran throughout the galaxy. Their crystalline form glowed with pride as they projected complex diagrams into the air. The combination of organic processing and simple digital systems creates something entirely new, Blue explained. Something that's both more advanced and more secure than what came before. Kate watched from nearby, smiling at how naturally Blue had taken to teaching. After the crisis, the Council had been forced to acknowledge that their dismissal of both humans and Lumini had nearly cost them everything. Now, they were learning to see things differently. Ambassador Stone, a council aide, hurried up to her. They're ready for the ceremony. The main chamber of the library had been cleared for the event. Representatives from across the galaxy gathered to watch as the council officially established the new Human Lumini Research Institute. Tom stood near the front, his old laptop still at his side despite now having access to the most advanced technology in the galaxy. We gather today to recognize not just the saving of our civilization, the council leader began, but the beginning of a new understanding. We had become so focused on advancement that we forgot what true intelligence looks like. It comes in many forms, and we are all diminished when we ignore any of them. Blue moved to the center of the chamber, their glow bright and steady. Other Lumini throughout the library shone in harmony with them. They had once been content to be invisible, to serve without being seen. Not anymore. The Lumini are hereby recognized as a full member species of the Galactic Council, the leader announced. Their unique abilities and perspective have proven invaluable, and we are honored to welcome them as equals. A cheer went up from the human delegation. Other species joined in, even some who had once looked down on the Lumini. Through their network, Blue could feel the joy and pride of their people. They had waited so long for this moment. Furthermore, the leader continued, humanity's contribution cannot be ignored. Their primitive approach to technology, their emotional intelligence, and their ability to see value where others saw only tools, these qualities represent the best of what our galactic community can be. Tom stepped forward with Blue as they unveiled the Institute's first project, a new type of ship that combined Lumini crystalline technology with human intuitive design. It would be the first of many collaborations. It's beautiful, Kate said, looking at the designs. Just like your original data pattern analysis. Blue, who would have thought that your search for recognition would lead to all this? Blue's glow sparkled with happiness. Humans taught us to speak up, to show who we really are. We taught you to see the patterns in the galaxy's data. Together, we created something new. The ceremony continued, but Blue was distracted by a group of young humans and Lumini in the corner. They were already working together on new ideas, new ways to combine their different types of intelligence. No one was telling the Lumini to stick to data storage, and no one was calling the humans primitive. "What are you thinking about?" Tom asked, noticing Blue's thoughtful glow. "About how being ignored turned out to be useful," Blue projected. "It gave us time to learn, to watch, to understand. We were ready when the right allies came along." Kate laughed. "And we humans were too stubborn to accept being dismissed as savages. Maybe that's why we work so well together. We both know what it's like to be underestimated." As the crowds mingled after the ceremony, Blue watched their fellow Lumini talking freely with humans and other species. Their glow pulsed with contentment. They had wanted to prove they were more than living computers, and they had. But they had gained something even more valuable: true friends who saw them for who they really were. In the end, being different hadn't been a weakness at all. It had been the key to saving everything, and to building something better than anyone had imagined possible. The galaxy would never be the same, and that was exactly as it should be.